You think writing down your expenses is a waste of time, that it's something only people who are already broke need to do. Let me destroy that illusion right now. Because the truth is, tracking your expenses is not about money. It's about consciousness. And the moment you understand that, your entire financial life changes. Let me explain. You can't master what you don't measure. But here's the catch. Most people don't truly want to measure, because measurement forces truth. And truth is uncomfortable. You don't want to see how much you actually spend on food delivery, coffee, streaming services, or the quiet transactions you convince yourself don't matter. But every time you look away, you trade awareness for illusion. And illusion is expensive. Everyone says, I know about how much I spend. But about is the language of financial mediocrity, because no one who plays this game seriously uses guesses. Businesses don't, investors don't, and if you want to build wealth, you can't either. Writing your expenses is not a small habit. It's an act of rebellion against financial unconsciousness. It's you choosing to live awake in a world built for financial autopilot. Meet Daniel. He earns well, doesn't have major debt, yet every month the same story repeats. The money vanishes. He doesn't know where it goes, only that it's gone. So he does what most people do. He blames circumstance. Rent's high. Everything's expensive. Inflation. But here's what Daniel doesn't see. Inflation didn't eat half his income. His blindness did. Daniel's not lazy, he's distracted. His transactions happen in a fog, automated, digital, frictionless. And that's by design. The modern economy thrives on your lack of awareness. Every tech company, every app, every bank notification is optimized to make you spend without thinking. Convenience is the currency by which you pay for your unconsciousness. Writing each expense down is the opposite of that. It's friction by choice, a forced pause, a confrontation with reality. That's why it feels uncomfortable, because it's psychological resistance dressed as laziness. But that little notebook, that small daily act, becomes like a mirror. It doesn't judge you, it reflects you. And when you finally see your reflection clearly, you can begin to make different decisions. Adam Smith, the father of economics, believed wealth was not in gold or trade, but in the productive powers of labor, in human behavior itself. He understood that economics was not just about numbers, but about human nature, and that hasn't changed. Money isn't math, it's behavior measured in numbers. So when you start tracking your expenses, you're not collecting data, you're rewriting behavior, you're building awareness muscle, the one responsible for every strategic financial move you'll ever make. Warren Buffett says, the difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything. That discipline doesn't come from deprivation, it comes from clarity, from knowing exactly what deserves your yes. Tracking expenses gives you that clarity, because once you see where your money goes, you'll also see where your energy goes. And that's the point. Money is a mirror of your mind, your habits, your emotions. When those change, the math naturally follows. Let's name the concept the mirror ledger. The mirror ledger is what happens when you transform expense tracking from a task into a mindset, from accounting to awareness. It has 3 layers. The first layer is exposure. This is the moment you look directly at your spending without excuses. It's uncomfortable, but discomfort is data, because every number reveals a hidden value, what you truly care about, what you try to avoid, what you're compensating for emotionally. Financial healing begins with exposure, because you can't fix what you refuse to face. The second layer is pattern, recognition. After a few weeks, the numbers start talking. Patterns appear. Emotional spending spikes on stressful days. Impulse purchases follow boredom. The mirror ledger turns each transaction into a behavioral clue. You stop saying, I have a spending problem, and start asking, what triggers me to spend? That shift alone is evolutionary. The third layer is redirection. Once you know the pattern, you can change the path. You begin channeling money consciously, not randomly. You say no where it costs you freedom, and yes, where it buys you growth. This is awareness in motion, the point where financial intelligence becomes behavioral mastery. And the more consistent you are, the more fascinating this gets. You start predicting your own behavior before it happens. That's power, because wealth isn't built by predicting the market, it's built by predicting yourself. Let's confront the resistance now. That little voice saying, "I already know roughly how much I spend." No, you don't. You know how much you want to believe you spend. The brain filters out what threatens your identity. We all lie to ourselves, not with words, but with a mission. Writing down expenses forces honesty, radical honesty. It's not glamorous, it's not fast, but it's how you reclaim authority over your own financial narrative. And that's why it feels useless, because you can't see the transformation while it's happening. It's invisible at first, like muscles forming beneath the surface. Then, one day, you realize you don't impulse buy anymore. You don't need to check your bank account with dread. You plan, you act deliberately, you feel calm. That's not the result of more money. That's the result of more control. And control is the first form of wealth. Remember Daniel? 6 months later, he's not only tracking his expenses, he's anticipating them. He knows what week his emotions try to spend their way out of stress. He knows what subscriptions he doesn't use. He sees clearly what he values and what he's been pretending to value. And that's when his money begins to multiply, because it finally has direction. People say, knowledge is power. They're wrong. Awareness is power. Knowledge is theoretical. Awareness is applied. Tracking your expenses won't make you rich overnight, but it will make you the kind of person capable of becoming rich. The kind who notices instead of avoids. The kind who decides instead of reacts. Because you can't master money until you can see it dry, and you can't see what you refuse to face. So before you skip this habit again, remember, the moment it feels useless is the moment it's working. That's your old self resisting extinction. In the comments, write this phrase, "I choose to see." Not for the algorithm, for you. Because money doesn't change when you learn about it. Money changes when you finally look at it. See, write, repeat, until the numbers start speaking truth. That's when everything changes.